everybody, my name's Liz and I'm here to show you today how to do a knit stitch. And what I'm doing with that is I'm using my 4.5mm needles again, as I did in my previous video, which is where I showed you how to cast on. The cast on stitches I've got 20 stitches, and it's just using some spare wool that I had, which is a chunky yarn just for demonstration purposes. And what we need to do, we need to transfer all of these stitches by knitting them and popping them onto this needle. So the first thing we need to do is pop our right hand needle up underneath the stitch that's on the first stitch that's on our left hand needle, and pop it up there, and it makes like an X. So my right hand needle is sitting at the back now and my left needle is sitting at the front, a bit like when we did the cast on as well. Now what we need to do, we need to take our yarn and we need to wrap it around the needle so that we can then draw it through the stitch ready to take it off the needle and onto the other needle. So here we go, we're going to go from front here to the back, so round the back, over the needle and then in between those two needles. And you can put it down and it sits between those two needles quite nicely. And then you want to push that down, and then you want to grab this piece of yarn with the tip of this needle, and by just putting your needle down, pushing it down, grab the piece of yarn. Oops, I've not managed to grab it there. Let's do that again. Pop that round. It can be a bit tricky to start with, but once you get going, you'll be absolutely fine. So we're going to grab that piece of yarn, and as you can see, there it is. I've managed to grab it that time. And whereas when we were casting on, we pulled this yarn out so we could put it onto our left needle, we just need to slip it off the top of the left needle this go, so it goes onto our right hand needle. Okay, so I'll do another one of those. So underneath that second stitch on the needle, which is now the top stitch, wrap our yarn round front to back, so around the back we go, bring it towards the front, down between those two needles, and then we're going to grab this just by pushing that needle down, the right hand needle, grabbing the yarn, there it is there, can you see? And then pushing the needle through and then taking that off. So now we've got the two stitches on there. Then we'll go on to our next stitch. If I continue just to do a few of these slowly to show you. This first row can sometimes be a little bit tricky if your cast on is quite tight, but all you need to do is just wiggle your needles a little bit till you can put your needle through, or bring it down to grab your yarn to make the next stitch. So I'm going to continue going ahead, and I will speed this part up just so, or I will skip this part, just so I can get to the end, and once I'm at the end I can then show you what we do coming back the other way. Okay, so we're on our last stitch now, so we've got our tail here from where we cast on, so what we need to do is just pop our needle into that last stitch as we've been doing, wrap our yarn round, pull the needle down, so we've got this stitch on this needle now, and then just take our needle out. Now what we do is we need to put these stitches, because we're now going to want to put them onto the next needle, but we always start off with the stitches that are on the needle on our left needle. So we're going to put that into our left hand, and then we're going to take our needle and put this one in our right hand, our empty needle. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start again, but this time you've just got to be a little bit careful you don't pick this tail up. You can hold it out the way with your other fingers like that if you want to, or just leave it dangling down and make sure you pick up this yarn each time. Now we're going to go back under again, round from front to back, underneath to grab that stitch, and then take that stitch off. Do a couple more. And I'm throwing my yarn here, and you can pick the yarn as well, but for demonstrations today, to get you started, I'm just showing you how to throw your yarn. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some rows so you can start to see what the garter stitch looks like. needle into our left hand and then pick up our right needle. Okay. As we get to the end of the final row that I'm going to show you today, because we can now see what the garter stitch looks like. It's rows of bumps, really, that's what I always think about it, and the other side is the same, rows of bumps in the garter stitch. And it makes a nice scarf pattern, so if you wanted to start a scarf and just keep knitting until it's the desired length that you want as a scarf, this is a nice easy project to start with. Okay, so as we go along to the end, sometimes you can stretch your stitches, where if you've got quite a few on this needle, where you keep pulling them up, you can stretch them. So it's always good just to, like you stretch these down here, just to pull them down so they don't bunch up. What you can do here is just slide these ones up and then just keep hold of them so they don't slide off the top of the needle, and then you can start again. Okay, so we've done a few rows. Now, if you want to find me, you can find me on Instagram at Myrtle Knits. I also have another channel, which I mentioned before, which is called Just Grow With It. I've just started doing my own vegetable garden, and going to see how that goes this year. So if you want to follow that, you're more than welcome. And next time, I'm going to show you how to do a purl stitch. And the purl side, when I do it, you'll see is about the bumps, but mixed with the knit stitch, it's called stockinette, and it looks very different from this, but like I say, we will look at that next time. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.